Following Cassie and Diddy's legal struggle, a number more purported victims have come forward, shedding light on Diddy's controversial behavior and giving the narrative an interesting new angle. It appears that sources other than the victims themselves are making these disclosures. Even their loved ones are assuming a central role. Ja Rule's wife, Aisha Atkins, is a prime example. She openly alluded to Diddy allegedly taking advantage of Ja Rule. So what actually happened?
And we were standing in the presidential suite at the hotel. And this particular artist and Puff, they told me, don't let nobody come in the room.
The Times reports that the court placed a trigger notice on the case's main page after Cassie made several disturbing claims in her complaint against Diddy. The legal dispute has now been resolved. Even after the statute of limitations has run, people may still pursue claims under the Adult Survivors Act of New York. This action was utilized by Cassie to bolster her complaint. Cassie detailed numerous horrific incidents that transpired during her relationship with Diddy in her 35-page lawsuit. In the case, Cassie stated that she had been physically restrained by Mr. Combs for over a decade, as well as subjected to his harsh demands and abusive conduct. More disquieting activities were listed in the lawsuit. Cassie said that Diddy violently kicked, stomped, beat, and punched her inside her home after she made an attempt to leave. He forced her to sexual acts with male escorts, blew up a man's car, stormed out of his apartment with a gun to catch a rival business boss, and demanded that Cassie carry his revolver in her handbag only to show her how dangerous he was when he found out she was his romantic interest. In order to support his own addictions, he also forced her to obtain illicit prescriptions and acclimated her to a life of drug and alcohol abuse. The lawsuit from Cassie continued to describe how she met Diddy, who was 37 in 2005 when she was 19 years old. She maintained that Diddy had complete influence over her personal and professional lives, making it practically difficult for her to leave. She went on to talk about all the harsh mistreatment she had received from Diddy over their relationship. Despite being aware of these attacks, neither Diddy's nor Bad Boys staff members spoke out against their menacing and violent boss. Diddy would regularly use illegal substances and threats to compel Cassie to have unwanted interactions with male coworkers. He would also constantly remind her that he could hurt her badly. According to Cassie, these men used narcotics and masquerade masks before forcing themselves on her. Diddy, according to her, called these arrangements FOs or freak-offs. There are rumors that Ja Rule may have been involved in a couple of these freak-offs, and the best person to confirm this would be his wife, Aisha Atkins. Aisha said at the start of her MTV-only show, Married Life After Prison, he wrote all those love songs and still doesn't know how to take care of a bee. She said it only took him 2 years to decide he'd rather AD than be with his wife, even though we spent more than 10 years building our marriage. To put things in perspective, Ja Rule was probably back living with his family after he was released from prison earlier in 2013, following a 2-year sentence for a weapons offense. But according to Aisha, that is simply untrue. He made a good comeback home to gather his belongings and head out. She also claimed that Ja Rule, whose real name is Jeffrey Atkins, didn't tell her he was having an affair with his personal trainer until much later, and that she didn't even know he was a prison cellmate. While her husband was in prison, Aisha admitted that at first it was hard to be without him. Nevertheless, the weekly trips to the jail became routine. She said, I drove 4.5 hours there and 4.5 hours back every Sunday, holiday to visit him almost every weekend. We played football games on Saturday and we're going to see Dad on Sunday. We worked on that for 2 years. Calling his wife his rock, Ja Rule said she held it down. When the government put me in federal jail, all I said to them was, listen, I'm good. It's not necessary for you to come all the way out here for me. I have Canada right next to me. This is not where you should be coming. She thought her husband was being considerate when he pointed out how much it would have cost her to physically make that journey every other week, but it turns out that her presence may have just been annoying the rapper's boyfriend. Gene recently said that there's a chance Ja Rule was one of the male bodyguards used for Cassie and Diddy's freak-offs. In an interview, Gene claimed that when visiting a store with Diddy, he witnessed him purchasing butt plugs for himself and paying cash at the counter to avoid having his possessions examined. He went on to add that he, Diddy, and a few other people got on a private jet, flew to North Carolina, and stayed at a fancy hotel. Diddy and the other man then made their way to the presidential suite. Gene Deal continued, so later that afternoon, this rapper and Diddy, they were all in the room together. The doorbell rang the following second. "We were in the presidential suite." The man said, "Hey, I'm here for my cousin," as soon as I opened the door. Under false pretenses of being Ja Rule's cousin, the intruder made an effort to access the presidential suite. Gene told the cousin of Ja Rule that he was not allowed to go inside the room since he had been given clear instructions not to let anyone in. After Gene informed the man outside the door that Ja Rule and Puffy valued solitude and were currently occupied, the man continued to attempt to push his way inside the hotel suite, according to Gene. Deal asserted that frequenting Turkish spas, where he allegedly encountered homosexual males, was one of Diddy's networking strategies. Are you aware of what transpires in the Turkish baths? Deal hinted that this was usual operating procedure for some employees of the company. Deal claimed that there were more functions to these Turkish bath parties than just relaxation. They provide a unique setting for business discussions. He claimed that in order to get in contact with celebrities like Diddy, people had to go to these baths and supposedly swap questionable items for opportunities to grow in their careers. That encompasses a significant portion of what these men encounter when they initiate specific meetings with specific individuals, he went on. They meet them at the Turkish spa, conduct their meetings there, and engage with their people there, so they don't have to worry about their offenses being detected. Deal's comments hint at a murky side of the music industry, where it's not always clear where personal and professional boundaries end. Deal claims that the Turkish bath appears to be a unique setting where commerce can be conducted without fear of exposure or criticism. He went on to emphasize how regularly these encounters were placed by stating, "I go outside with the driver twice, sometimes 3 times a week. He will dive headfirst into the Turkish bath." However, Diddy's shenanigans have not only been exposed by Gene Deal. In a stunning interview, Jaguar Wright disclosed information about the music executive and vowed to give the whole truth and nothing but the truth. She truly did deliver too. Wright says she has hired an entertainment lawyer who worked with Bad Boy back in the 2003 S. This legal eagle also has a fantastic story to share. Wright alleges that Diddy has been using his power to force his workers to please him. Fellatio on Puff. But the worst thing is that the attorney didn't appear to be concerned from the start about the unexpected sighting. However, he seems to have brought it up the next day and asked her if she intended to notify anyone. The rapper apparently threatened to ruin her life if she shared the information, as if that weren't horrible enough. Whatever the case, several close to Diddy have insisted that the music mogul has been using his power to force men and women to engage in degrading acts in order to prove his supremacy. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to like and comments. Also subscribe our channel for more videos.